This video is for anyone that might be overwhelmed by the concept of cooking in the kitchen. This was me when we first moved to our off-grid home in Northern California. I quickly got overwhelmed by the 12-step process of artisan sourdough, and I was thinking about it today as I was about to prep some of the items that I'm going to discuss. I really think that a lot of people need things simplified. When you're learning something like the art of cooking or baking, I mean, baking is a science. When you're learning that, sometimes I feel, especially in the wake of social media, you can get really overwhelmed by really fancy recipes, adding extra ingredients, making modifications, and all of these things are great. But if you fail enough times, people get discouraged. Or if it seems like it has to take 2 days to make a loaf of bread, you may not make time for that because, well, life is busy. Before we lived here, I was seriously uncomfortable in the kitchen. I found cooking to be a chore, and honestly, it overwhelmed me, so my husband often handled all of that. Once I took a step back and I threw my misconceptions out the window and started with the basics, I realized I actually love cooking and I find a lot of joy in it. So I wanted to share 3 things with you guys today that I think everybody can start with in the kitchen that are really good for you, good for your family, and are easy and accessible. You don't need fancy equipment, you don't need expensive ingredients. And once you learn the basics of these recipes, you can then make modifications and take it to the next level and build your knowledge and experience from there. I'm going to cover just the basic principles of 3 items, but I will be linking more detailed videos in the description below to show you the recipes that I have found to be the easiest to start with. I have tried many recipes for some of these items, and so yeah, learn from my mistakes, watch the videos if you have interest in taking this further. So the first item on this list is sauerkraut. This is a probiotic powerhouse. I am not here to give medical advice, but in our home, we truly believe that probiotics should come from whole foods. When you buy it in a powdered or capsule, I mean, even the refrigerated forms that I've seen at like the natural food store are so unsustainably expensive for most people. So sauerkraut is something that sounds overwhelming, but it's actually so incredibly easy, I couldn't believe it. Aside from the numerous health benefits of eating sauerkraut and just it's so delicious, making it at home costs significantly less. It's almost laughable. Like a 16-ounce glass jar at the store, from my experience, was around $10, and from one head of cabbage, give or take the size of the cabbage head, it cost me around like $2 to make at home, and this will last me weeks. So as soon as I process a jar, meaning I've mixed everything together, the juices, it's fermenting, and then I take it out and put it in its containers to go in the fridge, I immediately whip up a new batch because we eat a lot of it. I think the idea of fermentation can sound really daunting, but it doesn't need to be. I don't think you should get too distracted with the fermentation products that you might see on the internet. Just get a jar, or if you'd like, order some glass weights. If I had to say order anything, it would be some glass weights because they really are helpful. When you're fermenting, you don't want the cabbage sticking above the water line. So order some glass weights, or don't. If budget is like a real issue, I totally understand. You can make a weight. I mean, think about it. There's rocks. Like, get creative, do what works for you and your family. Absolutely, you should try sauerkraut. The second item on this list is tortillas. This is one of my favorite things to make from home. I mean, who doesn't love a fresh, hot tortilla? In our house, they do not last very long. It is worth noting that because there are no preservatives, they do harden up if you leave them out. But there's a simple solution. If you have extras, toss them in the freezer, save them for next time. The obvious benefits to making tortillas at home are that there are far less or no preservatives, and you can use whatever high quality fat that you want to use. Tortillas are basically just flour, salt, fat, mixed together, let it rest, cook it on a cast iron, or you could use a regular non-stick pan probably. I've never tried that, don't take my word for it. But overall, I think tortillas are just an awesome staple to make at home, and it takes so little time. I mean, when I first had the idea to try a recipe, I had assumed it'd be like a multi-hour thing. And it does take a little bit of time to cook if you have a small cast iron. If you have a griddle or something like that and you can put like 2, 3 on at a time, that's awesome. If not, it's maybe 30 minutes. And you know, I just turn on some music, I make it an experience. Cooking should be fun. And I just think there's nothing better than a tortilla that you made. It's so good. You can eat it with tacos, you can eat it with burritos. I make peanut butter with honey, raw honey on top when I need a sweet little treat. Make tortillas. The third and final item on this list is bread. So I really want to bust the myth or the idea that bread needs to be a multi-day process every single time. I will be the first to admit I love a sourdough loaf, but I don't always have time for that. Realistically, I'm running a homestead. I don't always plan ahead. I have like ideas bouncing around throughout the day. So I do think it's worth remembering or being told perhaps for the first time that making bread can be made with instant yeast, flour, salt, and water, of course. And it can still be a highly delicious and nutritious item for you to feed to your family. I think once you really get comfortable with the pretty simple process of using instant yeast and making a basic sandwich loaf or basic rolls, you can really take what you've learned, that experience and that knowledge, and apply it to more complicated recipes. Sourdough really blew up across the internet, and I love sourdough. I love it. But I think it's overwhelming, and it can be discouraging if you fail a few times or your loaf turns out kind of meh and you think that you're just not good at baking bread. But in reality, you just need the experience and the simplicity. Maybe. I'm not here to tell you what you need. But for me, that was absolutely the case. I thought the bear was back. We've had a bear coming to say hi to us recently. But anyways, that was definitely the case for me. So once I took a step back and got back to the basics, made a couple sandwich loaves, made some delicious rolls, I came back to my sourdough starter that I had been keeping in the refrigerator, and I was able to make one of the best loaves that I've ever made. So to wrap it all up, it actually takes me less time to prep these items than it would take for me to hop in the truck, drive to the store, and buy them. The payoff is that I know exactly what's feeding my family. There are no toxic additives, just whole, real food made with my two hands, fed to me and my husband and sometimes friends. I hope this inspires you to reclaim even just, I don't know, one item from your grocery list. You can pick. It can be something from my list. It can be something that you have interest in. Yeah, pick one item, just one item, 1 week. I challenge you. Do it and see if it inspires you to be in the kitchen again. If you're interested in following more from our off-grid journey, please make sure to like and subscribe and follow along. I will see you next time.